So I remember last year when I watched this show, this time of the year, this time of the season, I was really caught up in who the Red Devil was, and I was all into theorizing and everything, and I was just really into the show. And I guess I've just come to accept that this season is just not going to be like season 1, and maybe this show is just never going to be like season 1, and it's kind of just like a comedy to me. And so when I was watching it tonight, I was like, this is just a comedy, and I'm going to take it for face value, so that's how I went into it. And I thought this episode was actually better than last week's, but still, I just think it's so drastically different than the first season, and I think from the terms, from the point of a mystery show and theorizing and trying to figure out who people are, I just don't feel like it has it anymore, and I'm kind of just watching because it's ridiculous. I don't know if that's the way this show is just going to go from now on, or if it's even going to have a third season, but that's how I'm approaching it anyway, because I don't really feel like it's much of a mystery show anymore. That being said, we still do need to figure out who one additional killer is, and we did get the reveal, which was probably the most underwhelming reveal ever, but whatever. One of the most interesting points I think of this show happened at the very beginning, and that was the information, the backstory about Nurse Hoffel, because we always kind of wondered what she was doing there. So it turns out she was connected to season 1, and she was the maid Bean's sister, and she was mad because the Chanels were responsible for her death, so now she's here to get revenge. But she hasn't killed anyone, and she hasn't been posing as Green Meanie, so I actually like that tidbit, and I thought that was, pretty freaking interesting. So there was a lot of drama surrounding this blood drive, and Chanel wanted to be the winner because the winner got a trip to Blood Island, which is actually this place that sounds amazing but really isn't. I don't even think it exists, of course. But anyway, so she wanted to get the most blood donated from other people so that she could win, and this was all a plan of Hoffel's to send her to somewhere terrible. And of course she wanted to take her boyfriend, Dr. Brock, and then there was all this craziness around the fact that she had like every STD imaginable, but it was a fake blood test result. I think probably the dean did that, so it was like, then Dr. Brock didn't want to have anything to do with her. It's just pure comedy. Probably not even worth mentioning, but I thought I would throw it out there. Chamberlain's kind of become a detective. He's trying to figure out like who could be this baby, even though we, the audience, knows that it is Cassidy. But everyone else doesn't know. And Zayday's kind of trying to figure out, was it him? And they figure out, no, it's not him, but they still don't know on the show that it's actually Cassidy. So what I think is really hurting this season is the killing of random people. And yes, I know we did that last season, but literally we're still going with that same formula where you meet somebody in the episode and we know that they're going to die. This Chanel who died tonight, I actually thought the way they killed her was interesting by draining all of her blood, considering she was terrified of giving blood. I guess possibly we met her last week, although none of these additional Chanels stick out to me and mean nothing to me, so maybe that's why I forgot her. But again, we don't know her, we don't care about her. Yes, I know they killed 2 sort of major characters, but this formula of just killing these random people who we don't care about at all, I think is really hurting the show. But they gotta kill somebody. They can't kill the main cast members every episode, but I'm just kind of really bored with this concept, actually. What is interesting, not really, but sort of, is we find out who helped kill her. It was supposed to be all Cassidy's doing. He is unmasked, which I think we all figured he was one of the killers, so that was very underwhelming. But then he wanted Nurse Hoffel to help him because she's like, I'm on your side. So, what's going to happen next? Looks like she's going to be the third killer, because he mentions like, hey, were you doing the other killings? And she's like, no. So there's still a mystery killer who I guess will be our shocking reveal, and she's going to pose as the third Green Meanie, I guess, starting next week. So Chanel ends up winning the blood drive because of this girl's blood that was drained, and Nurse Hoffel's plans backfire because she doesn't want to take like, a regular plane. She wants to take a chartered plane, so she was just going to use the money for herself. So yeah, so anyway, we could have figured out who the baby was because they were checking out blood types, and Cassidy's, of course, was the only one that was O positive, but he went and switched those and made it look like it was Dr. Brock, and Dr. Brock had a meltdown, of course, and his hand started acting up, and maybe he will be doing something not so nice, something illegal. I don't know if anything's even illegal on this show next week, because he's mad and he wants revenge because he's been, framed, and he didn't He didn't kill anyone. I definitely don't think he's the other green meanie. So if you want to ask me who is the green meanie, I don't know. Just like last week, I just don't know. I don't really know if I should put my brain to work to theorize who it could be, just because I'm kind of watching this for the entertainment value and for some of the funny lines and stuff at this point. I just don't consider it like the other shows that I watch where you're seriously trying to figure out like who's the killer or whatever. So I'm interested to see what you think, but if you have theories about who is our secret green meanie, I would love to know. And let me know what you think about this season. I got a lot of comments that kind of, you know, people feel like I do. They just don't feel like it matches up to last season and you're just not loving it, but you still want to watch. For those of you asking, yes, I'm going to still continue doing videos, and I'll probably do videos if there's a season 3, but I'm just not going to approach them from like being a really serious mystery show. Not that it was ever serious, but I think there was way more theorizing, and I remember the finale last year. I was super pumped for that, and I was like really nervous to find out who our killers were, and I don't think it's going to have the same feel this season. Like, I'm pretty much sure it's not. So if you're just not seeing me for the first time, I cover all kinds of like mystery, thriller shows. Check the down bar for that information. I would love for you to subscribe and thumbs up this video, and if you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys real soon. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.